During the conservative years of the Reagan administration, Ruthie Beckwith was the director of a fledgling organization called People First.
Some of those residents, some of the people who formed the original People First groups, had come out of Clover Bottom under Seville versus Treadway, which was Tennessee's first deinstitutionalization case. The Justice Department began an investigation of Arlington during the spring of 1990. And that investigation and the announcement of it coincided with a meeting that People First was having in the Memphis area that same spring. In fact, the president of People First of Tennessee, which by now People First had become a statewide organization, saw the announcement that the Justice Department was going to investigate in the commercial appeal while we were at that meeting. At that meeting, there were several people who lived at Arlington Developmental Center, and so there was a really close relationship with the Memphis chapter in particular and the folks that lived at Arlington. In 1991, in the early spring of 1991, the Justice Department released what they refer to as a letter of findings. We were all very moved by what the Justice Department had found during the course of their investigation, where the governor had also gone to Arlington and found through a special blue ribbon tour that he had that the conditions there he believed didn't warrant the description that the Justice Department had found. So People First found itself at odds, not only with the administration over the contents of the report, but also and ultimately and unfortunately at odds with families of people who lived at Arlington, because People First believed what the Justice Department wrote. But what we found as people became aware of the litigation, that there were family members who had been concerned about what was happening with their family member, who had long held questions that had not been answered by the administration, not only about the general care, but about accidents and injuries that were unexplained, about abuse incidents that happened to people. And in fact, as the issue of class certification was being decided, a person at Arlington was murdered by the staff, was beaten to death. And so all of these things were going on where family members were beginning to find that they did have an ally in People First and were willing to come forward and share what they knew and share their concerns. During the course of that year, the board voted to file its first lawsuit against the state of Tennessee, and that was People First of Tennessee versus Arlington Developmental Center.